Hey, welcome to Maka's Corner, and today we're doing something a little bit different. Instead of me telling the story here, I've got a guest narrator, my fiance, and here they are to introduce themselves.
Hey everyone, this is Tara. Today I'll be reading a rather short story, but I'm a bit new to this, so it's not perfect. I will be helping out with the channel from now on, though, so be on the lookout for more videos.
Yes, thank you for that. So as I said, Tara will be reading this story, so we're good to go. Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment down below, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.
The Best Christmas for Us Both by Nobody of Light. A sky painted in the darkest shade of blue, and the bright moon made a perfect match, while snowflakes hovered in the air and filled the streets that sparkled with decorations. It was Christmas Eve. Everyone was at home, tasting supper and waiting for the clock to strike at midnight. And for our blue hedgehog, that was no different. Sonic was generous enough to offer his place for their friends to celebrate the holiday, since it's big enough for many people. They happily accepted the invitation, and now the house was full of recognizable faces. Amy was in the kitchen preparing all the things for their meal, as Cream and Cheese helped her. Silver and the Chaotix were chatting on the other side of the room, probably talking about the detective cases or something like that. Blaze ended up joining the conversation as well, as she came from upstairs. Right on the center, Sonic was being a nuisance to Shadow, while Knuckles and Rouge made small talk. And right next to them was Tails, decorating the living room with the Christmas lights. On the other side of the room, Gadget and Infinite were both on the sofa, next to each other, enjoying the lively room in a comfortable silence, before the wolf broke the silence, as he turned to the jackal. "So, you enjoying the party?" he asked with a big smile he couldn't shake off his face. "Well, it's better than I thought it'd be," the black canine chuckled as he said that. "But yeah, I'm enjoying it. Thanks for bringing me here, buddy," he added, wrapping an arm around the red Mobian, smiling to him as well. "I'm glad to hear that," the Crimson Hound said, as he kissed the Onyx Cane's cheek, then resting his head on the other's shoulder. Gadget wanted his first Christmas with Infinite to be the most memorable, since the Jackal redeemed himself from the crimes he committed during the war, which Sonic and the others appreciated a lot, and because they're now in a relationship. Sometimes you'd never expect that a worm criminal and a hero would fall in love with each other, but it just happened. They got to understand themselves better and grew closer, developing more deep feelings as a consequence. But they didn't mind. It's as if they were made for each other. Opposites attract, as some people say, and the wolf was glad that his friends acknowledged his partner's efforts to be someone better. And that's all there is to it. The ruby canine was dragged out of his thoughts as the ebony jackal got up from the couch. "I'm gonna bring something for us to drink. Want something?" he asked with his usual soft tone towards his boyfriend. "Chaos Cola is fine, or whatever they have in the fridge," the red wolf said as he saw him nod and leave the room to get to the kitchen. He stayed on the couch waiting for a bit, until a familiar face came to greet him. "Hey, Gadget," Silver said, gaining the canine's attention. "Oh, hi Silver, how you doing?" Gadget responded happily, since he and the Silver Hedgehog were good friends, and they never missed a chance to chat. "I'm great, thanks for asking," the Sterling rodent replied, as a smile was starting to creep on his face for no reason. "Wow, we're just a few hours away from Christmas. Isn't this exciting?" he added. He couldn't help but feel very enthusiastic, since he came from a very unpleasant future. Every holiday was a thrill for him. "It sure is," the Red Hound said as he giggled. "By the way, how's Infinite?" the futuristic Mobian questioned. He's fine, why do you ask?" Gadget answered with a puzzled expression on his face as the hedgehog settled himself on the couch. "Nothing really, I was just curious. I mean, it's really impressive how you saw what no one did. A good side on him," Silver said, uncertain if that would leave a bad impression for the wolf. "Yeah, you're right. Sometimes I wonder how I did it," the ruby canine remarked before laughing, the Silver Esper doing the same. "Well, I'm just happy he found a way to improve himself and help the others. And I'm happy for you too, since you found someone to be by your side from now on," he said with a look that showed apprehension and support towards the Crimson Hound. "Thanks, Silver, that means a lot," Gadget said, surprised but also happy by his friend's statement. "You're welcome," Silver replied with his big dorky grin before they turned their gaze to the jackal coming back from the kitchen. "You're lucky, there was one last can of Chaos Cola in the fridge." "Sup, Silver?" Infinite said, handing the can of soda to his partner and sitting on the couch. as he started to chat with the silver hedgehog as well. Sometime later, everyone gathered in the dining room for Christmas dinner. The very upbeat mood spread around the room as they ate and talked about anything in general, but at some point it became a lynching session for Sonic making terrible puns, while Gadget and Infinite held hands through the entire ordeal, feeling great in each other's company. When the meal was over, it was now the big moment. A few minutes before the holiday that had yearned to arrive, suddenly Amy came up with the idea of giving the presents now, instead of being on time, which everyone agreed on. All the gifts were quite peculiar, to say the least. Amy received a good amount of clothes, a tarot deck, and a pair of boxing gloves given by Knuckles, obviously. Cream also received clothes and a big Chow plushie that was given to her by Shadow, of all people. Who would imagine that he has a heart? Knuckles received a present that was treated as a gift given by everyone, and it was an instruction manual on how to not trust strangers, which oddly enough, he appreciated immensely. Shadow also had a present treated as everyone's gift, and it was a coffee maker, so he wouldn't have to just eat the coffee beans anymore. The rest was a bit more simple, yet still very eccentric. Like all the jewelry Rouge got, the gardening kit that Blaze gave to Silver, and the awful amount of Sonic merch that the Blue Blur himself gave to everybody, even having an inflated ego has his limits, you know. While all this was still going on, there were 2 gifts to be handed over yet, Gadgets and Infinites, that they would give to each other. They didn't know what gift to give one another, so they were nervous about what the other would think about what was inside the boxes. The wolf was the first one to hand over his gift, and the jackal was already terribly curious since all the way to Sonic's house, but the red canine refused to tell, since it was a secret. Very carefully, he removed the wrapping. When he removed the lid from the box, he froze for a moment. He couldn't describe the feeling that swelled on him. It was a long, red scarf, and that was already enough for him to dig up some memories, before the Crimson Hound broke the silence. I remember you saying that you had a scarf just like this one when you were younger, and how it made you feel strong, so I thought it'd be nice to give it to you. He smiled and said that, but his expression turned into one of worry, as tears streamed from his lover's eyes. "What's wrong?" the Ruby Mobian immediately cupped the other's cheeks, but then the Ebony Canid looked at him with such a pure smile that it made his heart swoon. "Sorry, it's just, this is perfect. I couldn't have asked for a better gift. Thank you. Gadget, I love you so much," he said, trying to hold back his tears as he hugged his boyfriend. "Aw, Infinite, I love you too," Gadget playfully said, hugging him back. Now it was Infinite's time to give the present, and he was getting a bit anxious about it, since it was quite the small box. The wolf opened the package, and inside of it was a small metal plate with a big red button in the center of it. Before he said anything, the black canine began to speak. This is not just a plate, it's a holographic projector. I had a little help from Tails when making this. You have to press the button to turn it on," he said, and the red hound did exactly that, and then a projection of a very familiar photo showed up, as well as the Onyx's Mobian voice came through the plate. "You remember this photo, right? It was when I was fully healed from when you saved me in the debris from the war. You were very happy that I accepted to stay with you until I had something else to do with my life. It was all over your face that day." He heard a chuckle from the recording, and now he was gathering the pieces of what that metal plate was about. It was a collection of all the memories they had together until now. All the moments they were happy, sad, or even scared. Everything was in that projection. It even had the day they confessed to each other, which was a turning point in Gadget's life, as well as Infinite's. And then the retrospective of moments ended, but the recording went on a little longer, as the Jackal's voice was heard once again. "I know I could say this to you personally, but I wouldn't be able to do that properly, so that's why I'm recording it. All I want to say is thank you, Gadget, for everything you've done for me, for giving me a second chance. I don't know what I would have been without you. I want this holiday to be one of the best for both of us. I love you with all my heart, and Merry Christmas." The projection ended after those last words, and the wolf didn't fully realize until now that he was crying. But that wasn't a problem, as he jumped into his lover's arms and kissed him. The Ebony Canid was surprised, but he let himself relax as he kissed back. The moment they pulled away, they were both smiling like idiots, before Gadget began to speak. "Infinite, that was so sweet. Thank you. I love you with all my heart, too," he said as he held Infinite close and didn't want to let go, as the jackal laughed and held him as well. "I'm glad you liked it," he said as they enjoyed the vivid mood of the party and had a great time with their friends. This was truly a Merry Christmas.